0, 1. Let's get started.
Good evening, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Black and White United Show on my YouTube channel. I'm your host, Andreas, and today we're going to be speaking about, will the package be a good fit for the Pies? So let's just get straight down to it. The rumours are he's not happy. He's told Essendon that he has played his last game there from all reports. We don't know how true they are, but we'll just take it for face value. There's a massive debate going on at the moment between all bunch of different Collingwood supporters out there saying that he won't be a good fit, I don't want him there, and there's a whole bunch of negativity surrounding the chance that he might come and play for Collingwood. Now, I might be the one off here. I know that some people have the same view, but if you look at what we were missing this year, if you look at the injuries that we had, if you look at the situation that our forward line was facing at times last year and also this year, it's pretty evident that we've been screaming for a key forward. Now, when people think key forwards, they usually think big, strong Tom Lynch type forwards, and we did a video about that earlier on last week. But fuck this light, man! I've got to buy a ring light. Sorry, guys. Like we spoke about it, and the general perception is that if you want a key forward, they're usually about, almost like 6'5". They're massive. They take big, strong marks. Like, that's not Jake Stringer. But, and let's be honest, you hate Jake Stringer when he's not playing for your team, basically, right? I've noticed with Stringer, though, every year he's fighting for a contract, or he starts a new contract, he usually performs quite well. Now, he wants 2 years. I personally don't see any harm in getting Jake Stringer into our forward line for 2 seasons. Sign him up on, $500,000-$600,000 a year. Can you just imagine a forward line where you've got Checkers forward pocket, you've got Stringer full forward, and Bobby Hill forward pocket, and you can probably have McStay centre half forward, and there's a whole dynamic there. Bo on the half forward flank, Josh Dacos or Nick Dacos, whoever you want to play on the flanks, you can play them on the flanks as well. You've got Will Hoskin, Elliott. There's a plethora of options there. We do have a lot of small forwards, and that's why I think if we were to get Stringer and Joe Richards-Woods to go to Port Adelaide, it wouldn't be the worst thing for everybody. Everybody could gain something from it. If you look at, this is the part that pisses me off most about our supporters saying, oh, no, don't worry about him, whatever. The reality is, if you want to see how many goals he kicked this year for Essendon, he kicked 42 goals for Essendon. Now, Bobby Hill kicked 30 goals, okay? Lockie Schultz kicked 24. Jamie Elliott kicked 21. Checkers kicked 19, and McStay spent most of the season off because he did his knee during pre-season. So Bobby Hill kicked 30 goals across 23 games. Stringer kicked 42 goals for Essendon in 24 across 23 games. He came second to Langford, who kicked 44 goals or 43 goals. Now, you put 42 goals into our team. You put 42 goals into our team this year. We make the finals. You put another person who's kicked 42 goals. We make the finals. We probably beat Sydney, and we win against Freo. We could have beaten the Dogs. We would have beaten Gold Coast, and that alone puts us into 6th position, right? We were screaming for that. I just like the dynamic of how it would work if you were to play him out of the goal square at full forward, and then, hey, a fit Jake Stringer can potentially bust a game wide open. You could rest a goalie in the forward line and put him in the midfield if you really needed to. If they keep the sub rule, God, can you imagine him coming on as a sub? I just think it expands what we're capable of if he does come. I'm all for it. I'm all for trying something new. If you had to put Tom Lynch right now, they gave us the option of getting Tom Lynch or Stringer. I get Stringer for 2 years. I don't get Lynch for 5 or 4 and have to back end his contract and pay him 1.5 mil or whatever it is. I would get Stringer for immediate impact. If we're gonna go hell for leather for this flag next year, or we're gonna like put all our eggs in one basket, you've got to get someone who can make an immediate impact. I really think this will work for us if we get it. Now, the question is, what do we give up? If Essendon aren't keen on signing him up for the further year that he wants, then you can't really demand something extraordinary for him. I really don't want to use the pick in the 20s that we're probably going to get from Gold Coast for John Noble. That's just a waste of a pick. I mean, I don't think we should be giving that to Essendon for, especially the fact that Essendon don't value him as much as what they used to. I would be offering a third round pick for Stringer. I'd be offering our third round pick, whatever it is in the 50s, I can't remember. Someone can correct me in the comments, please. You take that pick and you give that to Essendon, and we can get 2 solid years, potentially a third, right, of him being in a different environment, different football program. You know, he has a decent preseason. God forbid no fucking injuries, right? And this could be something massive for us. I think it could be one of those ones where they look back and they think, fuck, Collingwood Stringer, you wouldn't have thought that, and look what happened. You look at players that we've drafted over the years that have made immediate impact. You look at the 2009 draft where we got Ball and we got Jolly. Look what happened. You look at the draft 2 years ago or last year, whenever it was, we got Tom Mitchell, McStay and Bobby Hill, and they all played a massive part in the premiership, even though McStay didn't play in the grand final. They all played a massive part to get there. Without McStay, we don't make that grand final. Now, on that too, you saw the way that McStay played towards the back end of the season when he came in. He had immediate impact. That was like leading out of the goal scorer shit, which we've been screaming for. And to be honest, the only time that I felt like we really had that option was when Cox and Cameron were rotating, and one of them was in the forward line and one of them was in the ruck. When Cameron would go forward and he'd take that mark, you'd be pretty confident. It's like, geez, we need a tall forward, but he needs to be in the ruck. Cox, yeah, he does it. He's unpredictable, but he also went down back at times, and he was a good intercept mark too. So the question is, can you see Cox playing in the forward line if you put Jake Stringer in there? Does that mean that Cameron has to ruck alone? Does that mean Billy Frampton down back takes some of the ruck? There's a whole dynamic that needs to be sorted out. Can you play Cox, Cameron and Stringer in the same team? Who knows? Because the key is there resting up forward. Obviously, if Checkers goes down, obviously if another forward, McStay goes down again, God forbid, then obviously you can. But if we've got all our big men fighting fit, it does confirm one thing to me, that Ash Johnson's not getting a game next year. So I would definitely be putting him up for trade. Even just to get... See, this is another thing too. You could technically trade Ash Johnson out. You could get a third rounder in, get that third rounder and give that to Essendon for Jake Stringer. And then we're technically not losing a pick, if that makes sense, and we're gaining that, and we've still got that pick there. So there's a whole dynamic of picks and swaps and stuff that needs to come out of it. Unfortunately, because of the whole Ginnivan Schultz thing last year, we don't have a first rounder, so it's not like we could easily give up the second rounder and be like, yeah, no worries, take the pick for Noble because we've got this. We're not in that luxury sort of that sort of situation. But another thing too that people need to remember is his time before Essendon. I know we're looking back now like 9-10 years. That makes me feel old. But you're looking back at those times, and Stringer's done it. Like he's lifted a premiership cup on grand final day. He's got the premiership medal. He's a big time player. He's a big game player, and you know we've got a lot of big game players, but we've got the engine room already. And I just think you slot him in there, and he's fighting fit. I don't think it's an experiment that we should pass up on. And what's the worst could happen? Essendon accept the third round pick. We get him at Collingwood, and let's just say he gives us a decent season. He kicks 25-30 goals. Just think about what that does for players like Checkers, for players like McStay, Jamie Elliott, and the rest. It just means that he has to take one of the two main defenders. And then when you've got 2 or 3 other key forwards, Bobby Hill, Bo McCreary, like you got other forwards in there, they're not taking key defenders. They're taking just passengers half the time. And if those games against the lower sides that we lost this season, your St Kildas, your Gold Coast, we win those games with him playing. You know, obviously without other injuries, but you put a person in there who's going to kick 42 goals in a year, we win. Now, I know some people aren't going to agree, and a lot of people that I know don't like him. I don't like him when he plays against us. But if that mentality changed and he was playing for us, everything becomes okay. And hopefully it can take us to win another one of these. We'll look back on this video in 12 months' time. We'll piss ourselves laughing because it's either wrong or it's completely correct, and who knows. Tell me what you think. Leave a comment. Jake Stringer to the Pies. I want it to happen. Tell me what you think. Call it as you see it. Leave a comment below. Thanks for watching.
0, 1. Let's get started.